I'm Laura and welcome to class today. Today's class is going to be focusing on relaxing and restoring the mind and the body. So the only thing that you may need today is a pillow, a block, a towel for underneath your head. So as always, choose what feels good for your body. If anything doesn't feel good, choose an exercise that you may prefer to do or take a rest instead. So let's get going. Bring your feet to the bottom of your mat and then gently roll down through your spine. And once you get to the mat, just bring your feet a little bit closer in towards your sit bones. So your heels are in line or roughly in line with your two sitting bones and your knees are the same distance as your feet. I want you to check that the three bones at the front of the pelvis are level with each other to bring our pelvis to neutral. And then we have a small space, or the lower back feels the lightest part of the spine. We tuck the chin in so that the eye gaze is forwards on the ceiling and the back of the neck is long. And we want to bring the back ribs to the mat without sinking the lower back to the ground. So here's where you may need your towel, your block, your pillow to prop underneath your head, because lifting the head higher than the ribs is going to allow the rib cage to come down without affecting where your pelvis and your lower back is. So once you've found the correct position for yourself, bring your hands to your front bottom ribs and then slide them to the sides. And if this position isn't comfortable for your shoulders, feel free to cross the hands over so your hand is on opposite sides of your rib cage. And just feel your arms relaxed wherever they are. If you'd like, close your eyes and we're going to start to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. I'm starting to feel the rib cage expanding under the hands and then narrowing under the hands. Feeling the side ribs reach to the side walls, the back ribs spread into the mat, and each out breath that you do, feel the parts of your body that are in contact with the ground feel heavier. So the feet, the back of the pelvis, the back of the ribs, maybe the shoulders as well, and the head. And also visualizing the tailbone and the crown of the head reaching oppositionally. So we're getting a feeling of what we call axial length. Now as we visualize and feel the body relaxing as we breathe in, start to identify that gentle connection with your pelvic floor muscles drawing up between the thighs and the navel towards the spine. So if you're thinking of a scale of 1 to 10, we want to feel that that connection is quite gentle. So around about number 3. Okay, so if we're gripping onto those muscles, you'll find that your breath is restricted. So just finding a connection where you can breathe without creating tension in your body. Now keeping this breath, keeping this feeling of relaxing, just bring your arms to the side of your mat and you may choose to keep your eyes closed. On your next out breath, tip your pelvis backwards so that you're rounding your lower back towards the mat. Tailbone slightly lifts up and then you're going to tip your pelvis forwards, just allowing the tailbone to relax down and the lower back to lift again. Coming back to neutral pelvis. So just moving gently between your backwards tilt, your forwards tilt to bring it to neutral. And just trying to keep those choke points, those parts of the back of the body as heavy into the floor. Particularly the back ribs as we find the neutral position of our pelvis again. We're allowing the feet to stay heavy but relaxed on the mat, same with the thighs. And just identifying, are there any places in our body that we tend to hold tension? So for me, sometimes it's jaw, neck, shoulders, fingers, toes. Now when the pelvis comes back to neutral this time, bring your feet and your knees together. Take your arms wider to a low V and spiral the arms out so the palms face upwards. And just identify the back of the arms now, the back of the shoulders, the back of the hands on the ground. Gentle connection of the inner sides of your legs from your feet all the way up to the inner thighs. Inhale, and as you do that, start to roll your pelvis and your knees to the right side. Only go as far as you can. Keep the back of your shoulders and arms on the ground. exhale, draw navel and pelvic floor in to initiate the movement, coming back to center. Same to the left. Inhale to rotate, and then exhale, try and draw the back ribs towards the ground first before the pelvis comes back. That's going to make sure that the back ribs stay wide, the front ribs stay narrow. Now as you go to the right this time, turn your head to the left. So we're getting a rotation at our waist, thoracic spine, and our cervical spine, our neck. And exhale back to center. Now although we're feeling the back of the body heavy and a little engagement through the inner thighs, can you let go again where you don't need to be holding on to? Now as we go to the right this time, we turn our head to the left. The left arm is going to slide up the ground as high as you feel you can take it from your shoulder joint. And feel that stretch oppositionally from your arm to your knees. And then come all the way back to center. Bring everything with you. Same on the opposite side, so sliding up, reaching. Hopefully you've got space to do so. Don't worry if the arm needs to bend a little bit to allow this to happen if you are stuck for space. We're just going to do one more to each side. Keeping breathing, keeping moving. Not forcing anything to happen in our bodies, but just allowing it to move. Now when we come back to the center this time, let the arms come all the way to the sides of the body, palms down, and adjust your feet so your heels are back in line with your sit bones, knees distance of your feet. We're going to roll up to a bridge. So exhaling to tip your pelvis back and start to bring up the tailbone, the back of the pelvis, the lower back. The waist, maybe the ribs, you just go to a place where it feels okay for your body. When you get there, take a moment to pause, open the front of the hips and then float the arms overhead. Let the arms find the floor. Take them to a width that's comfortable for your shoulders and where you can completely relax them. Then the spine starts to roll down. I'm thinking of traction in, my arms and crown of the head up, but the rest of my spine, tailbone, pelvis down. That's going to give me a good stretch along the back of my body. Let the pelvis release to neutral, let the back of the body relax and the arms float all the way down. And we're going to do this 2 more times. So rolling up, feeling the connection at the back of the legs, feeling the abdominals drive the spine up, neck, shoulders relaxed. When you get to that top range for your body, arms float. They relax. So just take a moment. Can you let them go? So find tension in them and then release them if you're not sure if you're completely letting them go. And just notice how the feet are. So do you have the 3 corners of the feet into the mat, the big toe, the little toe, the centre of the heel. And we've got one more repetition here, almost trying to feel that the spine is getting longer than when we first laid down on our mat. So keeping the shoulders soft, not allowing them to lift up towards the ears, but really feeling that traction, that 2-way pull, that feeling of axial length through the spine. Find neutral, float the arms down, and then we're going to gently roll onto our side. So take a position with your underneath arm. It's comfortable for your head and neck and you can completely relax. Bend both knees. I'd like you to take your top leg backwards and your underneath leg forwards. And just take your back leg as far back as you feel you can while keeping your 2 pelvic bones level with each other. Now my back thigh bone is heavy, but my knee doesn't quite find the ground. So don't worry about that if you aren't finding the ground either. I've got a waist gap. The weight of my back leg's helping me, and at the moment I've already got a stretch at the front of my hip. So just feeling a stretch, maybe or maybe not, that's okay. I'm going to take our top arm all the way up and overhead. Now for me, I think this may feel a little bit more comfortable if I stretch my underneath arm. But again, it's completely up to you because everybody's body is different. We're going to take an in breath, and as you breathe out, keep the top arm heavy, but reaching long. And I'm going to turn my chest to face the ground any amount while I keep the top foot that's behind heavy on the ground. I'm almost thinking of drawing my thigh bone back a little. And then I'm going to reverse that, so turning my chest slightly up towards the ceiling while my top hip slightly presses forward. So let's just go with our breath. I'm going to inhale as I rotate forwards, and then exhale as I rotate back. Let's just do 2 more because this feels quite nice. And back. And last time. I'm trying to reach my rib cage up to the ceiling, lengthen my top thigh bone back a little bit more. Once you've got back, come back to neutral. Release your top arm down in front of your tummy and use that arm to help press you up. Keep your legs in this position but adjust them if you need to. And take the arm that you've just been leaning on up and over for a mermaid stretch. Now take an in breath, drop the shoulder down, and then exhale. Just see if you can lift the ribs up higher, drop the hip further into the ground. We're just going to do 1 more breath here. And release. And then slowly lift up. Now bringing your hands forwards, fingertips find the ground, and I'm thinking of trying to reach my tailbone back a little bit and then a small forwards hinge. I'm going to walk my hands over to the right, and I'm going to look over my shoulder and lift my chest up into a little bit of extension. Walking the hands round, inhaling, and exhaling, walking as far back as you can to find a twist. Now 1 more time each side. Inhale, and then exhale, dropping the shoulders down. So again, just move into a range that feels comfortable for you, using your breath. And then coming back to centre, swing your feet to the other side. Let's come down to the opposite side. So arm comes all the way down, underneath leg forwards, top leg back. Find that place where your 2 pelvic bones are level and let the back leg feel heavy. Reach the top arm up and over. Keep the side ribs that are in contact with the ground heavy as best you can. Now inhale as you start to roll forwards. Reach taller, longer with the arm, and then exhale to roll back. And you might feel that the stretch feels different again on this side. Each side feels different normally, so just don't worry about that, because we tend to have one side that maybe works harder than the other, one side that's generally just more stiff than the other. So we've got 1 more in each direction, and this backwards movement is our last one. And then as you come back to centre, release this arm all the way down. Push yourself all the way up and take the arm that we've just been lying on up towards the ceiling. So dropping 2 sit bones down, trying to lift the rib cage up off your hip to increase the space to stretch your oblique muscles, your lats, your QL, all those muscles of your side body. And just 1 more breath, and then release it. Okay, hands come in front. I'm going to take that rotation and that little bit of extension. So walking round, lifting the chest up. Arms tight on this side, so I'm getting a stretch. You may not get a stretch, that's okay. You might feel it more in your hips, and that's also okay. And just 1 more. So walking around gently, using your breath. Just finding moments where we can relax areas in our bodies. We don't need to hold tension. And then this time we're just going to walk our hands all the way to the side of the mat and come to an all fours position. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Let the shoulders drop gently away from the ears and find that tabletop spine. So the axial length as the tailbone reaches back, the crown of the head forwards. Once we've found our neutral spine, breathe in, breathe into the back ribs, and then exhale, Tip the pelvis backwards, start to round through the spine into your cat stretch. I want you to take an in-breath once you get here, so trying to breathe the back ribs wider, further up to the ceiling, and then exhale, start to lengthen your spine away, and then relax the belly down towards the ground. Let the shoulders gently slide away from the ears further to feel that extension. One more, so inhaling in here, this position, and then exhaling to round. Inhaling to hold, and then exhaling to release. Feel that lift of the chest. And then I'd like you to come back to neutral and walk your hands forwards about a handprint, or as far forwards as you can. Keep your shoulders down away from your ears. Now you can stay with exactly what we've just done, or we're going to increase the range of movement that we have. So we're going to round the spine. We're going to start to send the hips back towards the heels, keeping the rounded spine and keeping the hands where they are. We're going to open the back ribs as we take another breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to come forwards. I'm going to start to let my pelvis push forwards. Find that extension at the front of the hips, then draw the shoulders back and down. I'm going to start to lift my chest up towards the ceiling, forwards between my arms. Then the chin comes down, we feel the abdominals lift, the spine round, and we go back towards the heels. So we're going to get that stretch to the back of the body, and we've got one more. So we inhale, exhale, start to push the hips forwards, drop the shoulders down, let the chest go forwards, think of pubic bone towards the chest. Now if this is too much effort, too much tension in your body, remember, go back to what we had. So rounding the spine here, this time taking the spine all the way back into a child's pose. Let the forehead find the mat and just walk the fingertips forwards. Take 2 deep breaths into the back of the ribs, really open up the back of the body. And then slowly walking your hands in, rolling up through your spine. Once you get there in this kneeling position, if you choose to, tuck your toes under for a little foot stretch. Toe stretch, sole of the foot. Now the further you sit back towards your heels, the more intense the stretch, so feel free to lift up and come back down. So we're going to inhale, lift the arms. This is the opportunity to lift the hips off the heels a little. And then exhale, lower the arms, sink back into the heels. And we're just going to do this one more time. Inhale to lift. And then exhale to release. Come forward onto your hands and release your toes. So that's our relax and restore class today. So just moving gently through our bodies in a way that it feels good for us. So I hope you enjoyed the class. And if you did, please subscribe below. Check the bell icon so that you get notifications for future classes. Hope to see you again soon. Bye!